Guys, on this episode of You Say What, it's about the new 2023 Acura Integra prototype.
You guys don't seem to like it. The comments have been rather polarizing. So what we wanted to do was go over some of your comments about the vehicle. Now, Andre and I both agree that we're not going to discuss what we think about its design until we see it in person, because it's a lot different usually when you see something in sheet metal. However, we are going to talk about what you talked about.
Yes, but before we do that, how about we just quickly go over what it is?
Yeah.
It was unveiled last night. Our very own Alex Lightman was there, and he brought us a full video that I'm showing to you here on YouTube at TFL Car,
Right.
and also TFL Studios TikTok. We'll go over your comments there.
Yep.
It is basically a prototype still, because they're saying it's a year away.
Right.
And the production model may have some changes. They're saying it's going to be first factory turbocharged Integra, takes power from the high output 1.5 liter engine with VTEC, which is their valve train.
Sounds a lot like what they're going to be putting in the Civic Si.
Yes. Also geared for enthusiasts, 6-speed manual transmission will be offered. Okay, so maybe 2 transmission options or something like this.
That's what I said offered, so
Yes.
It doesn't mean that it's going to be the only thing. I mean, so what we're talking about is a front-wheel drive, sort of kind of hot hatch that, you know, the estimates are that it's going to be as, if not more powerful than the Honda Civic Si, which is what this powertrain basically
Yeah,
is
that
going
didn't
in.
state the horsepower here.
Yeah.
Right.
But we're going to say the SI is estimated around 200 horsepower,
Right.
so we're expecting this to be around a little higher than that, maybe.
And $30,000 starting price right there, according to Acura.
That'll make it the least expensive Acura, so that's the entry-level Acura.
And here's some images that they have provided us. By the way, they're saying this yellow color is also on their NSX sports cars. So
Right.
they're using this yellow color to launch this car.
Now, it's they also have a large Integra thing on the side, a little sticker. So for those of you who recall the original Integra, now some of you may think it was only a 2-door. They did come in 4-door as well, and they were basically small hatchback entry-level Acuras. And this sort of has that same idea on paper. This Integra thing, I do recall that with the original Integra, there were some that had a really small script on the side that said Integra. So that's probably where they got that from.
And they're bringing back an old name.
That's
and
right.
it's not easy to do oftentimes.
No, it's not.
So let's go over some of the comments. You say what, because this is about you guys.
Yeah, so go for it, Andre. So we have to obviously edit out the ones that have nasty language in them.
Yeah, let's hope not. So, first comment is from Song Chai. Hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. If they take that Integra sticker off, who can recognize this as an Integra? Okay, so that's about the design of it, right?
Right, and there's been more than one statement, there's been thousands of statements actually, but more than one where they've said that they wanted the car to look a little bit more retro, to look a little bit like the originals.
And already, look at this, almost 1,000 comments here on our TF Fast Lane Car channel.
Right.
Now, Nilesh R12 says, I'm guessing this will be the replacement for the aging ILX. Well, that could be true because this is a kind of a starting price is low enough, right?
Right, and it makes sense. The ILX was based on the older Honda Civic.
Exactly. This reminds me of how great the Nissan 400Z is. I have documents. Not sure what you mean by this, because the new Z is just a Z.
Yeah.
But
so 400, I don't know.
Maybe you're commenting about the color?
And
Okay.
you're comparing it to a very different car.
Yes. Looks generic. They should have went retro.
It's one of the comments I was talking about, yeah.
Anderson Rodriguez. So actually, well, I was hoping they would go retro as well.
So what were you hoping for? For the older one with the little round headlights, or the old school one with the block headlights that were kind of square? I mean, was that what you're talking about? Are you talking about the rear design? Are you talking about the overall design?
I think their overall shape. Because the current shape of the car is very swoopy.
Actually, yeah, there's a comment about that. Somebody said that they felt that this overall shape is reminiscent of other Hondas in the past, including the Acura ZDX, which, if you recall, was sort of a coupe-ish
Like an
version.
SUV, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a coupe SUV version of the MDX, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was it didn't sell very well.
Now, let's see. Sammy T says, this design language looks stale already. Every single Acura looks like this and has been for years. Well, not exactly true, although I'm actually a fan of the front end, personally.
Well, the front end, we recently had the TLX, right? And that was the R, and that was beautiful. Not only that, that was a wonderful car to drive. So if this is related to that, I get it. But one thing they did do is they kept the grille almost identical to a lot of other Acura products, and perhaps that's what he's talking about. This grille doesn't have any, it's just exactly the same shape, and perhaps that's one thing that he has an issue with.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Okay.
And then let's see if there's anything else. Looks like a Honda Civic with an Acura front end.
Read this one up here.
Wow, can't believe they tarnished the name with this heavy bulbous monstrosity.
Wow.
And this is one of the nicer comments, I think.
Yeah. Once again, we're not showing some of the nastier ones, and there are several. So that is the YouTube group, so to speak.
Let's look at TikTok.
Yes.
Let's see so on our TFL Studios TikTok channel, we have all vehicles, not just cars, and trucks and motorcycles. This one is actually very popular. Look at this. Almost 800,000 views.
Yeah, probably be about 800,000 within the next couple of hours at this rate.
Yeah, so this is just the same view of the car. And here's some of the comments from you guys on our TikTok channel. By the way, this is 6,700 comments. That's a lot.
6,776 comments. Yeah, I would say that's a lot.
Here's from this user. It says 2 doors or it ain't an Integra.
Nah,
so basically
that's not
pointing the two-door nature of the car.
Yeah, and there were 2-door and there were 4-door Integras as well, way back. And so I don't agree with that one.
Here's another one from Ryan Nelson. Says the concept was so much cooler. I think it was referring to some of the renderings and some other concepts out there.
Right, the renderings, which weren't this really bright yellow, by the way, I should point out. It's an interesting choice for them to come out with this really bright kind of polarizing color as their prototype, as opposed to, say, a silver or a hot blue or something that might show the lines a little bit better. It's an unusual choice.
I'm not going to read that one. It's a little bit, the language is not very clean.
Let's stick with clean stuff for a family show.
Adam says it looks like a basic Acura sedan.
Okay.
This user says, I'm going to stop you right there. That's not an Integra. So once again, I think when a manufacturer brings a traditional older name, like an Integra or maybe some others in the past, it's not easy to do because there is a perception of that name already,
and
right?
there's an expectation as well. Yeah. And I think that I can understand why some people are just like, look, this isn't an Integra because that vehicle was this little tiny, and it was small. They were very small, actually. They were very sporty. They're base, but they were still, if you look at the history, they had a lot in common with the Honda Civic. And that's what we're looking at here, something that has a lot in common with the Honda Civic.
Zachary says, I don't even know why I got excited when they first announced it. It do go down, says Nabra Civic with an Integra with an Acura badge. Wasted potential, says NR, just a mini TLX. Way too big to be an Integra, 2 doors only, once again. Some comments from the past. Just a rebadged ILX, says Aiden. Been saying it for years. As Isaac says, as someone who owned 3 Integras, that's not an Integra.
Okay. Well, there's only so much you can do with, bringing back a name. And, once again, the expectations were high. What I'm curious about is that they haven't talked about any of its performance specs. Am I correct?
Right. They mentioned the engine.
Right.
The 1.5 liter turbo.
Right. But
they say high output
on
it. Manual transmission. Dude, that's what enthusiasts like because everybody else is deleting their manual transmission.
Right, so they brought back a manual transmission for Acura. They didn't even bother putting it on their sports car, but they did put it on this. And so that in itself perhaps is a step in the right direction. Once again, we haven't seen this in person, and until we do, I'm going to hold off on my... Because I think the yellow really jumped out at me, and I was a little doubtful at first, but then I thought about it, and I thought, sometimes it's better when I see cars in person. What do you think about that, Andre?
Yeah, we need to come back to this.
Yes.
So this is You Say What? you have spoken.
Yeah, check out the comments.
Yeah.
The reason we're doing this video is because we are floored by the knee-jerk reaction of everybody who's seen this vehicle and how many negative comments it's garnered, which honestly, we spent a half an hour looking for positive comments and we really didn't find any. I mean, I'm not even joking.
Well, some constructive criticism, like retro comment.
That's fine, but still,
yeah.
I mean, very few, if any. So
yeah, well, there you have it. We have the full write-up, of course, tflcar.com on this brand new vehicle. And most of us will be in Los Angeles next week, giving you a lot more news from the show and other events.
And that includes the Honda Civic SI, which I will be driving in the very near future when I go out to Los Angeles, and we'll be covering a lot more than that.
Thank you, guys.